Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In today's video we're going to be doing a chit chat about the Evercade Alpha Mega Man Edition Bartop. And I must say that I'm really excited because this is just going to be something else than always like Street Fighter. Reconfigured with 6 Capcom games, and it's going to be including Mega Man, The Final Fight and Strider, some really cool classics. The dual Evercade cartridge system will give you the option to buy new additional games and just actually play and add new games to the mini Bartop. The display is going to be 8 inches of fun, and it's going to be also an IPS panel, fully licensed artwork, and we're going to be having an addition for an extra controller so you can play together. A swappable light up Marquee and the competition graded arcade controls. But what I think is just really cool that we're going to be having 6 really cool classic Capcom games with the Mega Man, the Power Battle number 1 and 2 and Carrier Airwing. Man, that is pure nostalgia for me. However, let's unbox this thing and let's see how the overall quality is, because I'm really excited to see if this is going to be an overall fun addition to the arcade room. When they actually showcase that we're going to be having arcade machines that we can add to our Evercade collection, I think that is pretty genius, because now we can actually just play our games on an arcade machine and the many games that are already owned. And I think that's just like a very cool new way to play. So when it comes to the Mega Man version, I had a little bit more trouble actually finding this particular model. I'm guessing this was like one of the models most people wanted. Let me know in the comments what Bartop are you actually interested in. And let's see what we're getting inside of the package. They're making a lot of advertisement of all of the different cartridges. However, I do wonder, can we actually buy all of them still because of licensing? We also checked out the Street Fighter version that I really find a very cool machine. So in overall, we're going to be looking at, let's say, the way how they absolutely great and in great manual. It's not the toilet paper stuff we've ever seen before with the Chinese products. So I'm guessing this is the special marquees that we can change out. Over here we're going to be having the adapters for the power supply. The power supply is just a 5 volt. Yeah, just something simplistic, nothing very fancy. 2 amps, nothing special there. I'm going to be needing to use this cable, by the way. Oh yeah, because this is a special connection, or at least like it's on USB-C, but the connector itself is going to be fitting perfectly in the arcade machine. And let's remove the styrofoam, and there we have our friend. And this is actually how it's packed up, nothing very fancy. So one of the things I'm really excited about is the mini arcade machine, because these things are looking really nice when it comes to the overall build quality. It feels quite nice, not to a point that it's going to be too heavy, but the build quality is just really sturdy, like an arcade machine should be. The overall artwork quality is also very nicely done. Let's give you like a zoom in and you can see that this is super detailed. No with pixelated shenanigans. So we do have these, let's say, plugs for I'm thinking this is where you're going to be, let's say, needed to move if you want to do completely disassembly. But what is also a very cool feature that at both sides we're actually going to be having the speakers, and they sound quite nice. But let's get rid of the marquee, or at least the plastic in front of it, because this is one of the things we need to do. Also, we're going to be removing very gently the freaking plastic, because yeah, this is always a little bit of an hassle because the plastic will be behind the screw over there. So this is going to be absolutely a challenge, because we're going to be needing to remove the single Parker over here. Always be very gentle back, actually, like when you're going to be putting it back. If you're going to be tightening up the Parker itself, it's possible you're going to be damaging your acrylic up front. But now we can actually fairly easy remove it over here, and this is what I mean. The other problem I did notice is like with the control panel, I should actually remove the control to get all of the plastic away. Okay, let's put this one back here. Let's be very gentle with it because this has a lot of resistance. Okay, that's it, good is good. And we're going to be removing the second one because of the freaking plastic is behind it. And the way how they did that is actually interesting. And let's remove it. I think this is the only way to do it correctly. Let me know in the comments if you don't agree and you have like actually a better way to do so. Because if you're going to be pulling it out, you can just see that it gets stuck under there. It's like really awful. I can still remember having that with the, like say, coin pushers. They were the same shenanigans that we need to do some little bit of a disassembly. And also when it comes to this part over here. because this is like a little bit of a piece of an acrylic that we're using. We still need to remove one side, so let's be very gentle with that. And also when it comes to the Marquee, you can see this one is glossy because it has been removed, but also the other ones will have a protection foil over it. But I can't get the freaking plastic out, so what we're going to be doing is pulling this out. Let's get an imbus screwdriver, and again we just lift this one out over there. So let's remove the screws and let's remove everything. So let's remove this over here. So we can also lift this up. There we go. So we can finally get rid of the freaking plastic. Okay. Maybe I can also do a little peek in the inside. But this is the thing what we're going to be having in the inside, and the overall construction is quite interesting. I mean, particularly when it comes to a technical standpoint. So this is the ribbon cable that goes to the main board. So if you can find maybe a converter like with the arcade 1-ups, you can actually like modify this with something else. But not even going to be doing that. I think over here the audio jack, because this thing functions as a main board that can do everything. You can see the encoders implemented, so the cables go straight into here and everything else too. So yeah, modifying, I would not really recommend doing it at this moment, but that's it. And also if you want to replace the joysticks, you can actually do that fairly easy. So I must say that the joystick, the feel, the buttons, I have nothing to complain actually there, but still if you want to change it out, you can do it. You can do that fairly easy. It's the same like in Senwa, at least. I think it's not a Senwa. It's not actually how it feels. But you know, when you're looking at the Senwa itself, you can actually do that, replace it, and get a complete Senwa joystick. And that also with the buttons, like fairly easy to remove. You can remove the pins, not going to be doing that. But they're using the smaller kind, and you can just replace the buttons if you want to. That's how easy it is. So modifying this thing when it comes to the control level, yep, you can do that. But how about the light-up Marquee? You can just change it out if you want to. Oh, I ripped the seal, I ripped the package, I ripped everything. Oh, all in the name for a review. So let's see how the other one look. Yeah, that's kind of cool, having the old school Final Fight artwork and Strider. But yeah, and again, you know, it's cool that they're doing it, but I do have like a little bit of a double feeling about this, because when you can actually like swap it out, personally, I don't think it's really cool, because I mean, you can swap it out with Final Fight, okay, but all of the other artwork will be Mega Man, you know what I'm saying? So at that point, it's cool, absolutely, but I'm just going to be using the original Mega Man. Another part that we're going to be needing to remove the plastic foley. Let's see if we can actually like get ourselves something going on over here. I have no idea. There we go. And it's very thick, so that's one thing. So let's put this thing back on. Let's see what's the easiest way to do this. I thought you can just put this in here. Yep. And just leave it in there. And then we're going to be very careful because it is thick acrylic, but I don't want to break it. Bend it a little bit. And there we go. And never to be touched again. At the back we're going to be finding the cable hole for the USB-C, but you know it fits perfectly. So if you're going to be losing the cable, it's going to be a challenge finding another one. At the front we're going to be having the USB connections for the controller, 2 slots for the games, volume control and the on and off switch. And that is really satisfying. And I can tell you that the overall light-up Marquee is absolutely perfect. The way how it looks in a minimum light-up room, this looks really great. And of course, with the Evercade Alpha, beautiful logo intro, whatever, thingy. And I think first need to accept policy, sell your soul and everything else. Yeah, okay. But if you're going to be looking at, let's say, the overall design, this thing looks absolutely great. It comes with a beautiful IPS panel. And I think that is absolutely one of the key features. However, the front legs is a little bit glossy, so there's going to be a challenge actually recording that. But shall we take a close look at, let's say, what's going on in the main menu. So the games that are installed, like we mentioned before. So then next up we're going to cartridges that we can implement that we're going to be doing later. So there's even some cool games like Collie Defense that is pre-installed, Game of the Month. But of course if you want to have more things going on, we're going to be actually needing to connect to the internet. So this is kind of cool that we can browse all of the cartridges. So over here we're going to be having a cartridge, you can just check them out. How to buy and everything. So in the software itself there's already a lot of cool stuff pre-installed, so if you want to check out what kind of games you actually want to add yourself. But let's move on, let's go to the settings over here. For the people who are interested, I think what is cool about this device is that we can do all kinds of very cool things when it comes to the display. So we can change out the aspect ratio, shaders, bezels, dynamic rate control, scan lines, you name it. There is all kinds of cool stuff that we can change out. Theme, I'll give you a couple of examples of what you can do over here. I must say I love the Mega Man look of this. Sound, network, so for the sound we can actually disable the menu music if you don't want to, or actually background music if you want to. Network, accessibility, language, system. Let's see what's going on over here. Check for updates, factory reset, map controller, force patch cartridge. And we're going to be having this secret code that we need to implement. But let's start off with Carrier Airwing. Man, this game, I have some really good memories. Played that so much on the arcades back in the day. A funny story is that I actually didn't even know how this game was called, you know, like I played it many years ago. I think maybe you also have this feeling that you played games, you have no idea how it's called. So Carrier Airwing was actually one of those games. Let's put in the credits, let's start. Air to air, air to air, to air to ground, air to ground. Let's choose this one. I think the first time I ever played it was a very long time ago, but now it's really cool to actually revisit these games. So when it comes to the joystick, actually playing with it now, I must say that it's very loose. So that's one thing I do need to get used to. It's very responsive. But this thing is have some really good audio. It's not like super loud. One of the things I loved about this game is that your fuel is also your health bar. And you're going to be having to finish up the game, and then we're going to be having some pretty cool things. We can upgrade our planes, save the money you actually receive from the mission, and that's how the game works. Press the menu. What you can do is like making a quick save over here, but let's save it. Let's make it a quick save. So what is kind of cool, it's not like we can actually do a little bit of cheating. Load up. So that works super fast, no weird delays. You can also change out the aspect ratio. Let me set an original one. We can put in a full screen. Doesn't give like a lot of like extra value because of the 4x3 display itself. Of course we have like scan lines, but not going to be changing out. One thing I wanted to do is checking out some other games, and let's get some Mega Man going on. So one of the things I've found absolutely fascinating about this arcade is the overall audio too, because the audio is absolutely really sounding great. I mean, particularly when it comes to, let's say, the overall stereo effect too. Oh. Super Slicer! That's what it's called. We're going to slice and dice, because that's the way how it works. Ooh. Knights of Valor, if I'm saying it correctly. So this is actually a game that I didn't really play a lot. So it is cool, we can even hook it up, and I'm guessing to 3 players. I don't have the original control by hand, but let's plug in a second controller over here. So this game got some really nice soundtrack. I really love the touch of the button. But let's move on to some, let's say, overall other gaming. And this is what I love about this thing. You can just plug in a second controller, put in credits, and you're ready to go. So the collection itself is really small out of the box. And I must say that when it comes to playing, I must say Final Fight is absolutely one of those games that I love to check out. How many times can you actually have Final Fight and play it? But still, the Sega CD version is still my favorite one. Graphical wise, of course, this one is so much more superior because it's the original arcade, but the Sega CD version with the audio, oh man, that was really good. So that part works like a charm. And then of course the Mega Man 2 version, the Power Battle 2, I should actually say. That's kind of cool. I've never played this game before, so we have search for Willy, rescue roll, recover the new parts. You can even choose your battle. Man, that is pretty cool. The same guy, same stage. Payback. Oh. Oh, I still can't manage to get this freaking guy to... Yeah! But one of the cool features, I think this is super cool about, let's say, the overall general idea with this arcade machine, is that we can plug in our games. You know, I have a couple of games still on seal, but you know, if you just want to play some Windjammers, we can just actually buy that and plug it in. Okay, so let's see, we're going to be having more, the IRM arcade collection, because we're going to be playing some arcade games. Yeah. I can tell you that this is feeling really tight if you're going to be pushing that in, but that's it. So let's go to the cartridge section, and what I find absolutely awesome, that's going to be loading up all of your game in one page. So there we have it. We're having Windjammers, we're having R-Type, and this way we can just, it's fairly easy, add our games. Of course, if you're going to be removing, let's remove it. That's also be automatically removing it from the list itself. Oh, nope. Oh yeah. And with the cartridge collection, you can actually like find your favorite games and just add them. And what I mentioned before, you can even look into the library to see which games or you find it personally appealing. So the game cartridges do have multiple games most of the time. I think there were a couple of them that had like 2 games. But the main question remains, can we actually find all of them for just a normal price due of licensing? I'm hoping if they're going to be having always like reissues, so we're not going to be having those over the top like priced, let's say, cartridges, because that would be completely killing the overall Evercade fun. I just realized that I added the same freaking cartridges when it comes to the Street Fighter video. So let's do something else, and you can see we're having 14 games, extra games now with the Atari Lynx. And we can just play our Atari Link games with checkered flag. Yoo-hoo! But if you're going to be looking at all kinds of different bar tops, none of them actually have the option to just add games like this with cartridges and everything else. But you know, I think that is such an interesting overall concept. Of course, the question, do you actually want to play old school Atari Link games on a bar top? That is something I also love to know from other people. Like, what do you think of this? Or do you want to just keep this thing as an arcade machine? Of course, we have the option to make saves too. And all of the features is enabled like with the original games that are pre-installed on this device itself. So I can also like switch into, let's say, the other overall, let's say, cartridge and just play In the Hunt. That's, by the way, a really cool game. And now we're going to be switching back to an arcade game. And I think In the Hunt, I know, didn't they release also this on the PlayStation 1? However, this is such an overall interesting concept. Some really nice and overall audio. And so far I can see this is just spot on when it comes to the overall, let's say, arcade emulation. Oh, I messed up. Oh, that's how it works. Ah, come here, you freaking chopper. Man, the graphical on this game is actually a little bit comparable with the Metal Slug games, or that's what I think of it. The question remains, do you actually go to be needing a bar top like this in your life? So when it comes to playability, upgradability with different cartridges, I think it's a unique concept that Evercade is doing really good. So also when it comes to the light up Marquee and the overall quality of the product, that I'm really surprised by. Also when it comes to the audio and everything, and just the way how the interface works. We do have like updates, so if there is a bug or a problem, it can be fixed fairly easy when it comes to the software part itself. Adding new games, collect new cartridges, another different way to play. Let me know what you think of this. Thank you all for watching. It will be great to see you in the next video.